Hi, it's Jeff Alpin, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to Career Coach Office Hours. I like to spend about a half hour on Tuesdays answering questions from you about your job search because to me, it doesn't have to be that hard, difficult, painful, or take as long as it does because the skills needed to find a job are different from those needed to do a job. And I just find a lot of very competent people are struggling. They're struggling because they know how to do their job, but they're not getting hired and they're not even getting interviews sometimes. So it's why I created the site jobsearch.community. Knowing the economy has been rough for a lot of people, I created a service that's inexpensive. Three tiers. You can choose the one that you like. And today I'm going to be offering a special promotion for the balance of the year. It can be given to someone as a Christmas present, it can be used by yourself. And it's for the Insider Premium membership at jobsearch.community. All you'll need to do is go to the site after the show because I have to activate the coupon, which I'll do at approximately 1 p.m. Eastern today. And in doing that, what you'll get is a discount for services that I normally charge 1,000 a month for, but it's going to be 833 for it, or in other words, 2,500 per month, per quarter. And I'd like to work with a group of people for about 3 months, helping you land your next job. Again, it doesn't have to be that hard. And I think many of you need access to me or someone like me in order to help you resolve some of the issues that are surfacing for you. And in joining my site, even if you join at some of the other tiers, like and become an insider member, I've got information about how to find job leads. I've got a PDF there about 101 ways to find job leads that will help many of you get more interviews. I've got information about how to interview, how to negotiate salary. I'm soon going to have a PDF there, or actually a video course about researching organizations. Salary negotiation is already there. There's so much available, including how to start your new job like an all-star. So again, jobsearch.community. There's free stuff on the front page there, including information about how to create an elevator pitch for yourself that isn't going to embarrass you or make you feel embarrassed about what you do. Again, that's jobsearch.community. And if you'd like me to coach you, I'll simply say, in coaching someone, what I'm able to do is work more intensely with a group of you so that the results wind up coming more effectively. Again, jobsearch.community, become an insider, and you'll get access to all my video courses, books, and guides. And you can send me questions about your search, and I'll respond usually within 24 hours. Become an Insider Plus member, and you get all of that. Plus, get me on a couple of Zoom calls per month. And again, the special promotion that I'm announcing today is becoming an Insider Premium member for $833 per month. My expectation is we'll work together for 3 months as a group to help you land your next role. And Jordan, welcome. And Sandra, welcome. I'm going to start with Jordan. Let's see now. I was asking for advice on pivoting to a different field from retail to hospitality. Yep, I understand the problem. And my son is in hospitality, and sometimes it's an issue there too. But the goal in hospitality is to get to a place where there are good tips, since wages tend to be fairly low. And by the way, Sandra, hi, how are you? I hope you have a question for me. And if not, nice to say hello to you. But coming back to Jordan here, well, you can wait tables, obviously. Working in the back of the house is a skill that needs to be learned. And I wouldn't recommend it going in cold. So front of the house is bartending. My son learned how to be a bartender, and he's very good at it. waiting tables, which has its own particular skill set, and you can learn that. I don't want to say it's not hard because for some people it really is and very stressful. So look in terms of perhaps a restaurant like a TGI Friday that's busy and they need help in the restaurant as a way of breaking in. Think of those places first rather than upscale restaurants because the upscale places want people with experience. That's what I know people in that business tell me. They're not going to take a beginner who's never waited a table, who's never tended bar, and teach them how to do that. They want someone who's actually done it before. So I like to get the bartending. In the meantime, I'm freelancing, but it's not as consistent. You're absolutely right. Freelancing is not as consistent. And bartending is something can be learned, and it takes effort. And standing behind the bar and serving drinks is not for everyone. You know, watch what these folks do. Go into a bar, sit down, and watch all the little things that they do and start talking with them about how they got into bartending because it's going to be interesting for you. And again, Houlihan's, a TGI Friday, any place that, I'm going to say middle tier is ideal because you're really looking for tips out of all of this. So I'll just simply say, talk to people who do this kind of work. Find out how they got into it. And you should be able to land because it's one of the hot areas, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that last month it was 40,000 new jobs, which in a report there was really 160,000 jobs because they report 199,000, but the issue is a lot of those are people who return from strike duty. So I'll just simply say you can land something in hospitality. No question about that. Jordan, let me see what you say here. I'm sorry. Sandra, looking for learning and development position. I teach adult English's ESL English and public speaking. Want to get out of working at a university or school, seek work training personnel, have HR background too. To find resources that recreate my LinkedIn page. Well, there are a lot of people who write resumes and LinkedIn profiles, and you can contact some of them. I critique them. I charge for that, as most people would. But the goal for you is maybe to understand from people who've done this transition how to do it. What their experience was like, how they landed in a role in the private sector and away from ESL, English, and public speaking, and how they transitioned out of working at a university or school to get experience in industry. I don't want to suggest going to an unemployment office because I don't think that's necessarily the best solution. But I think people who've worked, and you can find them on LinkedIn, just look for people who've done this transition, reach out to them and simply say, I'm someone who, like you, worked in English as a second language education. And like you, I want to make the transition into private sector learning and development work. How did you do it? What advice do you have? Where do you see that? Just talk to them. Set up a time to speak so you can learn from people who've already done it. And there may be faculty at the school that you're teaching at, adjuncts who are teaching part-time at the school but have a private sector job. And it's something that you can learn from them that's going to allow you to know what you need to know and know what you need to do in order to land that role. On my website, jobsearch.community, I think it's in the paid tier where I have information about informational interviews. So it's a $49 per month thing. There's a lot of other video courses there as well that talk about lots of different things in job search. Sandra, you can go through the list of all the courses there and see if you think $49 is worth what's there. And you got $49 per month. It'll teach you how to interview like an all-star. I have material that's going to be coming in probably in January about doing career transitions. But in the meantime, informational interviews is really what you need to learn how to do. And reaching out to people on LinkedIn to do the research, to find these people and to connect with these people and have these conversations is important. It's not hard to find them on LinkedIn. They are all over the place. And first of all, she said, got it, thank you. Have to research finding these people. And in response to what I'm saying, absolutely. You can do it. It's not hard on LinkedIn to find these folks because, frankly, you can spot in the profile people who've done the transition. Really can. And you can look for learning and development people, find them in your part of the country first before you start talking to people elsewhere. Look for people at around your experience level. And I don't know where you are professionally, but I'm assuming you're not going in for a manager's position originally. You're going to go in for a staff role to learn the work so that eventually you can grow into management. Find the people, talk with them, learn from them. Maybe in January you come over to my site and join for the career transition stuff as well as the informational interviewing stuff. Again, I'm charging $49 per month. Plus, you'll be able to ask me questions through the site. You should be able to find something in that part of the country. DC has been one of the least affected places by the recession because, frankly, so many government jobs. Now, finding a job with the government is different than finding something in private sector. Your choice. You can find government workers to help you. You can find private sector people to help you. It's all good. And part of what you'll do in these conversations is learn what it's like to work in each of these sectors so that in this way you minimize the mistakes that you make, you minimize the risk that you have, so that in this way, when you go out and interview, you can feel more confident that it's a role that you'd be interested in. Sandra, thank you for connecting here. And if we're not already connected on LinkedIn, send a connection request to me. LinkedIn.com/IN/the big game hunter, or just follow me. I'm okay with that as well. My feelings aren't hurt. And you'll get access to lots of different information from me. And government jobs, they contract agencies to find candidates. You're absolutely right. And they also hire on their own. I forget the name of the website. I think it may be usajobs.gov where they are listed there, but there's a specific type of resume that they look for, not a standard private sector resume. I know I've got a video interview on the subject. I don't remember its title, but if you search jobsearch.tv and look for the different, I'm right, USA Jobs, yes. So I think what you'd find on jobsearchtv.com, that's my YouTube channel. I have an interview that I did, and I'm drawing a blank on her name. I want to say her first name is Catherine, but it's a good interview about government resumes. She's got a workbook out that goes through the government resumes, and of course, she sells services as well. And if you hire her, I don't make anything from it. I just know that's her business, and she's very good at it. So again, Cassandra, thanks for connecting here, and I hope this was helpful to you. Let's go to one of the questions that was sent to me in advance. I finished my interviews, and let's see now. I finished my interviews, and my interviewer contacted me to discuss some details. Why? So the question is, what are those details that they want to talk with you about, which we don't know right now? Now, some of those details could be they have a question about some aspect of your work, and they want to make sure that they understand what you're capable of. That could be a rule in for the job or a rule out. Can't tell. They could be wanting to confirm you'd be interested in the role and whether you have any questions about the role because they picked up on something that gave them cause for concern. It could be they want to discuss potential compensation with you in advance so that they don't make an offer that's going to be one that you turn down. So, lots of different reasons, including um, wanting to make sure that you're interested, wanting to make sure that the role is one that you're capable of doing because they picked up on something or that they have a question about some aspect of your background. Lots of possibilities. Can't tell which one it is, but you'll find out. I also just want to check on one thing, and that's on LinkedIn's version of this. Yeah, it's coming through from LinkedIn as well. Every once in a while, the questions from LinkedIn don't get delivered to me right away. So I just want to make sure that they were, which Sandra, I can see you're on LinkedIn. And I realize Jordan is on LinkedIn messaging me as well. So I appreciate your patience with me. And again, for this question, I hope you found that answer helpful. Let's go to another one. I have a second interview scheduled. Nope, that's the wrong one. I have a second interview. Is that a good sign they want to hire me? I'm okay with the good, up to the good sign. But after that they want to hire me, no. And no more than, and I have no idea which gender this person is, uh, but I'll just simply say it's no different than being asked out on another date. No one's ready to drop down on one knee to propose marriage to you yet, right? What they want to do is get to know you better. So it's a good sign that they've asked you back because they certainly could have ghosted you and they certainly could have rejected you. So many firms are very good at doing that kind of stuff. But is it a good sign that they want to hire you? Not yet. So focus on making them fall in love, using that dating metaphor. Because unless they're ready to fall in love, well, you're never going to get an offer. So that's really what you always need to focus on. Make them fall in love because otherwise, you're just going to keep dating and dating and dating forever and get frustrated by the whole thing. So I'm just going to remind you folks, if you have a question for me, put your questions about job search into chat so I can help you. I can answer your questions I have for Jordan and Sandra today. Okay. Let's keep going. Let me scroll down to see here. Good. Another question. If a hiring freeze has been lifted, should I follow up about my continued interest? Yes. Now, I have no idea. Continued interest suggests that you were interviewed and then a hiring freeze came up and everything came to a halt. Now, that's how I interpret it. Maybe you just sent a resume and nothing happened, and then they messaged you to say there was a hiring freeze. So, if that latter case is the scenario that you just submitted a resume, I resubmit your resume and say, I sent this before there was a hiring freeze. Nothing really happened at that point, but I understand the freeze has been lifted. I'm attaching my resume. I'm interested in this position. You treat it as though it's a first contact from that point on. So the result is I want to encourage you to reach out to them. Now, if you're already interviewed, I contact the hiring manager the last person that you spoke with in this scenario, and simply say, when last we spoke, I was interviewing for this role, and nothing came of it because I understand the hiring freeze had been put into place. I understand the freeze has been lifted. I'm interested. Can we get together next week or later this week? So just be assertive about that without being obnoxious. And if they don't respond in a few days, it doesn't mean that they're not interested. It could mean that your message went into spam. One of my favorite techniques for getting through to people and getting them to respond is emailing using the subject line, "Are you okay?" Someone I'm coaching now is a fairly senior person was getting ghosted by a couple of organizations. And I suggested he do this. And the message basically reads, "I messaged you last week uh, to follow up on my interview with you. I haven't heard back. I just want to make sure you're okay." And what that did is flush them out, made them surface and apologize. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I've been very," and the excuses don't matter. They'll normally now tell you what's going on, why the delays, what the next steps, whatever it is. You flush them out by asking the question, "Are you okay?" And if you have a text relationship with them, that can be the message to them. You know, "Are you okay?" And then you go into the description of where you were at the time all this started, that there was a freeze, and now um, you understand the freeze has been lifted, and you want them to know that you'd like to continue interviewing with them, and flush them out that way. Okay. Good luck. I hope that's helpful to you. Here we go. Another question. Uh, Jordan, good luck with that. Oh, yes, I remember this one that was sent to me. They ask your desired salary in a job interview. You mention a figure. Later on, you realize what you mentioned was below average. How can you go about it in the second interview? Now, I don't know who the first interview was with, but let's assume for a second there was a screener. And now you're seeing a hiring manager. If you're seeing someone on staff, I'm going to have a different answer for you. But let's assume for now that the first interview was with a screener and the next interview was with the hiring manager. With the hiring manager, make them fall in love. Focus on that. And toward the end of the interview, after you ask them a few questions about what their expectations are and other things, again, I've got so much material about that at jobsearch.community, about what they ask at the end of an interview in my course, The Ultimate Job Interview Framework. So at the end, you'll say to them, when I met with HR or spoke with this, the recruiter for your firm, I made a misstatement to them about how much I'd be looking for. Really? And don't be flustered by their response. Just simply say, "I understated what I'd be looking for." Really? Yes. I said such and such number, and I realized that's really under market value. Other firms are talking to me about a higher number, about whatever the figure is that you'd rather go to work for them and thus, uh, what other firms? I don't think that's really relevant for today. I'll just simply say two other firms are speaking with me about more. So I realize the market for what I do is really higher. And I'd like you to consider that I'd be looking for a salary in the range of whatever that figure is. So do that at the end of the interview with the hiring manager. If you're meeting with the team you'd be working for, well, you don't mention salary with them. You recontact the person from the first interview. So that in this way, what you're able to do is to present effectively for the role. and correct the misstatement that you made in the interview about what you'd be looking for. So I just want to encourage you, go back, uh, focus on making them fall in love, because no love, no money, no honey. It's really that simple, and make them like you. Now, I'm just going to remind you before I finish out today that jobsearch.community has a special that's running through the end of the year. And at about 1 o'clock, a coupon code that says New Year, all one word in caps, will give you a discount from $1,000 a month to $833 per month. In other words, $2,500 for a quarter of work, which is what I want to have you commit to, a quarter of working with me. And we'll put together a group of people to work together on this. And I'll start immediately, and maybe start immediately as individual coaching. And the coupon will stop working on New Year's Eve at 11:30 p.m. So act before the end of the year. And I'll have reminders on LinkedIn and elsewhere about this promotion. But I'll be able to coach you as a group, or if necessary, individually, in order to help you land your next position. Because it is still tough out there. Although firms are starting to hire again, so many people need help, the kind of help that I know I can provide. So again, jobsearch.community. This is for insider premium membership, which will discount it from $1,000 to $833 per month. And if that's too much for you, become an insider member, and you'll get access to all my video courses, books, and guides, and new ones that'll be added to the site. Plus, be able to ask me questions that I'll respond to within 24 hours usually, or an Insider Plus member, where in addition to all of that, you'll get access to me for a couple of quick Zoom calls per month. So I've got another question or two before we wrap up today. How does one differentiate in a very crowded, laid-off worker marketplace with banks, Google, Oracle, and other retail and others? I don't understand the retail reference here. Maybe banks, Google, Oracle, and others have let go of hundreds of employees due to economic compression. So the key way to stand out is to be recommended by someone who can walk your resume over to a hiring manager, or recommend you through channels for an interview and attest to your capabilities. It's nicknamed as social proof. Proof from someone internal to their organization that you would be a great hire. They can attest to your capabilities. They'll speak with someone in a decision-making role so that they hear from this person your value that you can bring to the organization. That's the biggest standout way that most people can do, unless they're a subject matter expert who's known. Now, to me, branding is the key here. Do people know about you? Who knows about you? Are these people in substantial organizations that you'd want to work for? And thus, you are known for an expertise because you've written about it, you've been interviewed about it, you've been on stage at a conference for it, so that others can see your expertise, know about it, and understand what you can do for their organization. That's really the most effective way to do it, so that people reach out to you rather than you have to chase them. When you're chasing them, it's like being a fish in a pond with a single hook. All of you are trying to jump on, and only one is going to get on the hook. Imagine being escorted to the front where the hook is so that you can jump on, and they're pushing other people away. That's what you really want. You want to be that person who's escorted to the front so that you're able to jump on without having a problem there. Okay. I'm going to do one more question. And bear with me for a second so I can get it. Yes. Bear with me. I want to copy it so I can put it into chat. This person messaged me during the week or at the end of last week, perhaps, and they're a technologist. And they write, I possess SAP experience, 23 years. I'm open for director or program manager roles. I applied to every role available, no response. I connected with my previous managers, HR members, no response. What advice would you give me for my job offer? Hey, we're not at the job offer stage here yet. We're trying to get you out on a date. So let's get focused first. No one's asking you out on a date. So my first question is, why are people from your past unwilling to get back to you? Now, I'm wondering if you're a less experienced person than the role that you're shooting for, and thus they don't want to be the one to tell you you're not qualified. So that's one possible reason why no one's trying to help you. Another possible reason is you tick them off somewhere along the line and they don't want to go to bat for you. And that's a problem for you because people may want to check references at some point in the future, and these folks are going to shoot you down. So the first thing is cleaning that up. And maybe, as I said in my last question, are you okay? Is a great message to start off with. Listen to the last answer I gave and how I'd to phrase that message to someone. But the long and the short of it is I'm wondering if you're qualified, and I'm wondering whether or not you have the expertise for the kind of role that you're going for. Now, assuming that you do, you have to network in different places. And I think in terms of how do you get known for your expertise? Because I suspect you're not well known. You're someone who's kept their head down for so long that no one really knows about you. So focus on that. Focus on building a network of relationships, people you've worked with in the past, not necessarily former managers, but maybe people who were peers of yours, people who reported to you, and maybe former staff if you actually were a director or program manager, and simply say to them, I'm looking for something new. Anything going on at your organization? And if they don't get back to you, I'm wondering if, well, you may have ticked some people off in your past and you've got to clean that up. So that's a couple of pieces of advice about getting interviews. Then from there, you got to deliver on the interview. You have to demonstrate your expertise. But your network of relationships doesn't want to help you, and there's a reason for that. You've got to find out what it is, clean it up, so that in this way you're getting interviews and getting a chance of being hired. So I hope you found this helpful. I'm Jeff Altman. Visit my website, jobsearch.community. I've got a ton there that can help you. There's on the front page, there's a couple of video courses, PDFs, and guides that will help you in a number of different ways, including my favorite about crafting an elevator pitch. It's something that you'll learn how to deliver that won't leave you embarrassed, which most elevator pitches are awful. But this framework is really very good. Also want to mention to you, if you become an insider member, you'll get access to all the other video courses I have listed there, plus be able to send me questions to which I'll respond usually within 24 hours. There will be exceptions, of course, but usually within 24 hours. Become an Insider Plus member, you get all of that, plus we'll get on a couple of Zoom calls per month. And become an Insider Premium member, and if you use the coupon code New year, all one word, after 1 p.m. Eastern today, you'll get a reduction in price from 1,000 per month to 833 per month. And we'll start working together in an intense way so that you can land your next job more quickly. Have a terrific day. Oh, by the way, connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the big game hunter. Again, have a terrific day and be great. Take care.